Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, da doo-dah day.
Hello, I'm Dan Hollifield, and welcome to Last Man Standing. Stupid O'Clock was a little bit intense tonight, and I'm sorry that I had to disagree with a couple of people because I am so naturally cynical about the outcome of what happens when good intentions are met with someone after the bottom dollar. We shall see in the future, not necessarily the near future, but in some aspect of the future, as to whether or not my cynicism was unwise or well considered. And actually, I would rather be proven wrong at this juncture. I would really rather have everything work out the way that people want things to work out rather than these things they happen. With me tonight, we got Aunt Donna, and I am on, Lord, I don't know, probably Facebook, answering comments and whatnot. Uh, that's the best I can do at the moment. YouTube will not show me the link to my own show. So I got to do what I can with what I got. Don't snicker, Donna. You're muted, dear.
Stupid remote. You want me to send you a link
to my YouTube? Yeah.
to your own
Well,
show?
to my own show. Yeah. I'd. Well, you'd have to send it on YouTube for me to be able to get there from YouTube. So it's all
No,
right.
I
I
can
don't care.
pop the link in a DM on Facebook, and it'll take you to.
Hey, I can try that. I've maybe twice in the entire history of the show have I been given a YouTube link to my own show. And I think that was an oversight on YouTube's part.
Oh, who knows with YouTube?
Mm, it's just one of those things.
There you go.
Let's see here.
I was kind of hoping Kiri or Chris would stick around. Not that I don't like being alone with you.
Hmm. And now it won't go larger. Um, da-da-da. Okay. Okay, I've got the link. Uh, let me give myself a like. That's 2. And we'll see. I don't have any idea how many other channels I'm on at the moment. So, okay, we will kill the Facebook one and the Messenger one and go back to this one. And hopefully it'll get somewhere close to real time. Okay. There we go. Finally, after the third click,
Just not your night, huh?
never is.
It could be. There you go.
Yep. Okay. So, if any of our thousands of viewers care to comment, I can actually answer now in somewhat close to real time without having 3 other replies from the other places we're broadcasting to show up. But tis what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So you went to a book show this.
Went to Peoria to see Michaela Jade and Dawn.
Was that just Friday, or are they
Just
still going
today.
on? Just today? Just today?
I think
Just
it was
Saturday?
just today, yeah. It's a very small venue.
Well, doesn't matter. Every
Yeah.
little bit helps.
I think they had half a dozen, maybe 8 authors there.
I'd have been
Which
happy to
was
be at
nice.
something that size. Yeah.
Dawn had how to get on Joe Bachman's independent creative directory. Hopefully they'll join up. And then they had a very nice young man as a table mate that we spent a lot of time talking to and introducing him to the tricks of the trade. The poor guy went vanity press the first time.
Well, that happens, and then you learn from it and decide to take the next step to indie,
Yeah.
so that you don't get taken advantage of by the vanity presses. And hopefully, one day he'll be able to reclaim his manuscript from there and put it out in a format that people will actually be allowed to read, rather than him to just pay for.
Yeah. Well, it was a very nice looking book. I got it. It sounded very interesting. Yeah, I love how the name of the hero. There, 1,000 little sparks. by Max McClanahan.
Well,
But
he did get a good product there for his money.
yeah, it's very nice. It's nice and thick as you see. Uh, his his main character though is himself, but he's writing in third person, which is so cute. But
That
yeah,
does happen.
we we talked to him about like going to SilCon and stuff like that, and then I got the latest Michaela Jade,
Oh, yes.
which you can only get from Michaela Jade because this is the one that is on Amazon Vela right now.
Yes. Now, that's not the only thing she's got on Villa, is it?
No, she's got another Western. In fact, it kind of includes the same family that is in Scars, but a different brother and his wife, and that's called Pieces, and it's
And
very good.
if that were uh, the personal cup of tea of any of our potential audience members, where could they find that on Amazon? How do you
Uh,
find Amazon Villa books?
you just type on in Amazon Vela, and it'll take you right to the Vela, and then you search for the name, uh, Michaela Jade.
Thank you. Thank
The
you.
first 3 episodes are free, and then the next one, depending on the length of the episode, costs so many tokens, which I don't remember how 100 or 200 or 500. I don't remember for like $5.
Oh, so they're like North Korean dollars.
Yeah.
A million North Korean dollars equals 10 cents in American money, or something like that.
Mhm. But Amazon uses that to figure out how much to pay the author, and they're very nice. They're just little. If I've only got 10 minutes to do something, I'll read this episode.
So the more readers, the better for that particular venue.
Mhm.
And it's easy to continue on with that. And even once you're hooked on the Vela format, you can look up other authors
Other
in
authors,
Vela
yeah,
that
other
you could
genres.
also patronize,
Mhm.
which sounds like the wrong word, but become a patron of is what I meant.
Right.
Um,
And after so many episodes, you get to comment on how the authors are doing.
oh, that could come in handy. That
Yeah.
could be good user reader feedback.
Yeah, it's kind of a mini review, but it it's not as taxing as a real review would be to go back and read a story and then go back because now this episode is fresh in your mind and oh yeah, I like that she did this or I didn't like that she did that, but yeah, it's yeah, I couldn't do it though because
Uh,
I'm not as good as cliffhangers as she is. The end of
well,
every episode's a cliffhanger.
yeah, Michaela is exceptionally talented. I wouldn't say that you are less talented. I would say that your
I'm
focus
just
is in a
different.
different direction.
Yeah, yeah. It's
I
just two
can't
different styles.
I can't write cliffhangers to save my life, so I know exactly what you mean. I can't I can't outline anything to save my life either. I'm a pantser by heart. I
Hmm.
mean, it's all stream of consciousness. I start at a scene and I just keep going as long as the characters are giving me dictation as to what they're doing
Mm-hmm.
and what they're saying. And when they stop talking to me, I have a severe panic attack because nobody's talking to me. All the voices in my head are avoiding me now. Um,
Well, now they're telling you it's time to go back and edit and see if you got it right.
but I want to know what happens next.
Well, see, my voices don't even talk to me beginning to end. They'll come in and say, "Oh, I thought about a scene you need to do."
Mm, yep,
Okay, and then I've got to figure out how these scenes go together.
yeah, I've got one scene that's unwinding in my head for the fantasy story, but
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be a little bit of a slog to get me from where they stopped talking to me before to where they're talking to me now. I mean, I can't have them have dinner every 5 minutes.
Well,
That, and that's my usual conceit for the stories is when they want to take a break, they talk about what they're cooking for dinner and who's eating what and this other thing.
uh,
Good
Yes,
night.
Joe Dog.
I
hey,
just
Joe.
I was just hopping in to make sure you weren't solo.
Oh, Will. Um, thank goodness you weren't hopping in to find out whether or not I dozed off this early.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
Well, I'm about to do that myself. So y'all have a good one.
all right. Well, thank you for popping in.
All
see
right.
you later. Yeah, I I had a nice nap on the way back from Peoria.
Well, not that I don't love your company. I do kind of miss Dawn and I do kind of miss Richie being
Mm.
here. But, they have their own lives. I don't rule them.
He might jump in if he gets home too late. He's been known to do that, but
Yeah. Well, you said it was game night, so that's
hmm
very important, and everybody's got to have their own relaxations and everything.
right.
Um, this
But
is mine, but
the worst thing about today's show was that it was outside and it was 90 plus.
oh,
Yeah. Um, I was taken away because Carl's like, yeah, you're getting overheated. And we were worried. Um, Michaela seemed to be getting okay, but she's an outside girl. She did, she's doing all right. But
yeah, yep. She.
Dawn, Dawn was looking a little hot, and we were kind of
I'd
worried
say that's
about her.
normal for Dawn. She always
Well,
looks hot, but
not this kind of hot.
oh, okay. Um,
And I don't remember how long they had.
wait till she watches this tomorrow. Um,
I
oh,
think it was till 3, and she was supposed to go to a wedding tonight,
oof.
and the heat just got too much. She had to not go.
That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Well, outside events are like that. It depends on the weather whether or not you're going to be freezing or holding an umbrella or melting. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Well, they did
Um,
have tents and tables were provided, and there was an ice cream truck that was there.
I'm sure it did a booming business.
I'm pretty sure it did, and the people having it uh, had a big container of ice and ice water there for them. So
That's always a good thing. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
it's
thoughtful.
nice when they think about the people that's going to be there.
Hmm. Well, any decent event will, but there are a lot of events that are not as experienced that might not have gotten that far yet,
Well, yeah,
in
these
in
folks
their
were a little
pre-planning.
Yeah, these folks were a little inexperienced, so it's happy to see that they pretty much had a nice setup there.
Well, if they did that this early in their career, then that speaks well of what they'll be able to do later on in upcoming years. Now that they've got this kind of experience under their belt
Hmm.
and have learned from how everything went on, they'll, if they're
Right.
worth their salt, and they seem to be, they'll do even better next time, and the time after that, and the time after that on ad infinitum.
Hmm.
Um, I
Right.
okay to digress, I guess. Um, this afternoon was the monthly Larry Niven mailing list fan group IRC chat, and
Hmm.
Larry was there, and we had some nice conversations. Some of it about um, bits and pieces of the series of Ringworld novels that some of us still would like a couple of additional um, details addressed, but it's kind of late now since the original novel came out in the 70s,
Hmm.
and they're on, and therefore, so the best Larry is able to do is go, that's a good idea, might write another one, and he does that. He has done that. There have been a couple of books that Larry has written just because the people in the monthly chat go, "Hey, did you think of this? And wouldn't that be nice?" And he goes, "I'm taking notes." Larry's a nice
Hmm.
guy. He really is. Now, oh, speaking of which, Marilyn Niven, Larry's wife,
Hmm.
is in the hospital with an infection on her leg, and she is also on dialysis. So,
Ooh.
if the folks out there could just pray for Marilyn, I'd be really chuffed, and I do believe that our collective willpower might make a difference. And here's Chris.
Hey,
Hello,
Chris.
everyone. How y'all doing tonight?
Speaking of
Hmm?
collective willpower, we managed to make the hermit appear.
We summoned him.
Mm, only cost me two chickens.
How you doing, Chris?
I'm
Ah,
doing all right. It's been an interesting week or so.
well, it was really nice to see you in Stupid O'Clock tonight because we don't usually get to see you until like this time of night. You're driving home, and now you're
Yeah,
home.
I
And
decided to hop on and grace y'all with my presence.
Well,
we're
good.
very grateful.
I'm I'm just an average, ordinary guy.
Uh-huh. And if you believe that, you'll buy this watch.
Bonus points if you get the Joe Walsh album title reference.
Life's been good so far. Um,
Actually, he had a single and album called "Average Ordinary Guy."
yep, I remember it well. It's been a long time ago. Then most of the music that I listened to did take place before my grandchildren were born. And considering I've got grandchildren that are almost 40 years old now, um,
Well, there used to be this great radio station until they decided to get rid of the sometimes controversial morning host called 96 Rock. And they used to play true rock and roll.
Oh,
Mm,
they used to play
yes.
actual music instead of commercials interrupted by momentary bursts of adverts. Um,
Well, they somehow thought that the regular guys would be an improvement over Christopher Rude and the morning crew, which they weren't. Because it seemed like the first 6 months, and I didn't listen to them continuously because after a few shows it got old. Seemed all they wanted to do was gay bash, and I'm thinking, if you're gay bashing that much, you must be secretly homosexual.
that is a reasonable assumption to make, actually.
Yeah.
You
And like I
you'd
said,
be
I had better things to waste my mornings on than listening to them rant about stupid shit.
Mm.
yeah,
I still miss
uh,
WLS.
yeah.
There was a
Although
good
I could probably still pick up the station. I don't know that it's worth listening to anymore.
WLS. All
Yeah,
talk shows. All
then
talk.
not worth my time. Not worth my time.
But
Yep.
yeah, they had one hell of a DJ lineup. They had Christopher Rude and Radical Bradford and Lorna Love in the mornings. And Donna, you would got a kick out of when they did the weekly NASCAR report, where they always seemed to mention Dick Trickle. And then
As you
they had
do.
Willard late, and then they had Katie Colley in the afternoons,
Hmm.
and they had the Blade Runner Blake Anthony in the evenings. Oh,
And
they,
they had the what was it, the 5 o'clock whistle.
yep, the weekday whistle, the weekend whistle.
Oh, most of WLS's jockeys were, yeah, okay. But WLS had good old Uncle Larry and little snot-nosed Tommy.
Well,
And animal store, and they told animal stories, and they were great.
Christopher Reed was Radical Bradford really good at doing parodies.
Hmm.
One of the ones I remembered was when Tom Petty released Into the Great Wide Open.
Hmm.
Yeah, I remember that.
They did a spoof called I Sing With My Mouth Wide Open.
Okay.
Oh man, some of the stuff they did was hilarious.
I think
Like I
I
said,
actually
it was
remember
fun.
that. This is why I'm bowing my head in shame.
You
Um,
should.
uh, Now, 96 Rock is not the only radio station that has bitten the proverbial big one. Uh,
Well, 99X used to be fun when it was Power 99.
well, and 97.1 was okay until it became, we're no longer doing golden oldies and modern music. We're doing, who knows what this is.
Yeah.
And
Well,
they had a great morning crew until one of them retired, and none of the rest of them could figure out how to be a leader.
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Well, I forget when WLS went to all talk shows, but by that time I had a cassette player in my car and I quit listening to radio, period. That
Now,
that was sad.
there's one that I can listen to at work because it's a very low power station. I can't get it anywhere out of Clark County, so I can't listen to it at home. But it has almost no commercials, almost no news broadcasts, and it is one of the most eclectic playlists I have ever heard in my life. And it would be something like, oh, here's a classic rock song. here's Motown, here's country, here's pop rock, here's we don't know what this is, but we like the way it sounds,
Mhm.
and here's something completely different from all of that, and it just just it's like a college radio station. There's
Mhm.
no predictability about what they're going to play next, and they cover every genre you can imagine, and usually 9 songs out of 10, it's really accessible for someone like me who has a lifelong interest in music that goes back 6 decades.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, my two older brothers, one was 11 years older than I, and the other 9. So their music was the late 50s or 60s, and when they moved out of the house, I inherited all their wax,
Mhm.
all the so mine starts from there and moves on into the 70s. And somebody told me, got to listen to this one radio station. It plays all the golden oldies, and I'm like, oh, cool. I can listen to songs like White Sports Coat, etc., etc. Tune into the station. The frickin' golden oldies was my 70s music. And
Exactly.
while
Yes.
I enjoyed hearing my music again, I was a little upset at being one of the golden oldie people.
Mhm.
Yes.
Well,
Imagine imagine my chagrin when elevator music turned into what I was listening to on MTV in the 90s
yeah.
and left out everything that was worthwhile before that. Considering my interests go everywhere from uh, big bands and swing music in the 40s and orchestral even earlier than that, back in the before 1900, to you know yesterday.
Hmm.
My interests cover the entire spectrum of my existence plus about 20 years.
I find elevator music extremely comical, but the best thing ever was when I was in the grocery store and Shebop came over the intercom, and I'm looking around at these women with their little children and going, "You don't know what they're singing about, do you?
Mm.
Because if you did, you'd be running up to the manager saying, 'Turn that off.'"
Yeah.
Uh,
Like, yeah.
I've
And the
got
thing is, it became
I've got a better
popular.
one. We were in TJ Maxx, Lindsay and I, and we're walking around. We're waiting on. It was one of those things where you come in
Excuse me.
by
Gesundheit.
invitation,
Thank you.
and you fill out a form, and you're eligible for a drawing
Mm-hmm.
every 20-30 minutes. So we're walking around waiting on that.
Gesundheit.
Thank you.
Bless you. And all of a sudden, the PA starts playing "Dancing in the Moonlight,"
Mm,
Mhm.
love that
and
song.
Lindsay and I look at each other and we smile, and we start dancing in the aisles.
Mm,
Mhm.
Here's a
Carl
60-year
Channing.
old couple dancing in the aisles in a major small box store, and people are looking at us and going, "Are you part of the floor show?" Or, and we just go, "No,
Yes,
we're
we
Rocky
are.
Horror fans." Um, the floor show is much more involved than this. It, uh,
Yeah.
it was just one of those perfect moments where our um,
Man.
our specific
Gesundheit.
our specific variety of bad romance is just absolutely priceless. It's not a bad romance; it's a wonderful romance.
Yeah, I had
Uh,
to leave temporarily for stupid o'clock. I smelled something outside. So, excuse me, not only was I exposed to all the pollen outside, there was something burning, and I was trying to figure out how close by it was.
turns out it was Joe Dog's Taco Bell.
No, I'm not that close to him because
Does that matter?
if he can get that scent to move over 50 miles, more power to him.
Hey, they smelled it on the moon. Um,
Well, I
Oh,
asked about the manhole if
mm,
he could eat that much Taco Bell.
give him time.
when we went over to Peoria today, we stopped at this little place. It's called Busy Corner, and it's busy all the time. And they have the most wonderful pie. So we ate a little something, and then we had our pie, and it's time to go. So I go into the ladies' room, and I generally use the handicap stall because most public places, the others are too short for me. And there's a lady already in there, and I'm like, I can wait. And then it's like, sniff, sniff, hmm. And she flushed the toilet, so I'm like, I can wait. She flushed the toilet the second time, and I'm like, sniff, sniff. I'm going in one of the other stalls, and while I was in there, she flushed the toilet the third time. And even though I was two stalls over, I'm like, we got a female Joe Dog in here.
Mm.
Fortunately, what I had to do didn't take time, and I got out of there. But yeah, when you got to flush a minimum of 3 times, I, I, I mean, I'm not making fun of her. Make she, you know, she might have had a condition, but still,
Yeah. Well, there's
that,
sometimes even courtesy flushes aren't enough.
yeah.
Well, I've got to say, at work they have gone to the automatic flushing toilets, where if your shadow gets cast the wrong way, it
It
flushes.
flushes. uh,
I have had the damn thing flush as I'm sitting down before I've done anything. I'm going, oh, just clearing the tubes for me, ain't you? Uh,
it wants to wanted to make sure you had a fresh bowl. Like the biscuit used to do on Allie McBeal.
mm,
Well, luckily the I didn't see anything burning nearby. I couldn't see any smoke. Of course, it was a little bit foggy tonight. Although the moon, what I could see was high up enough above the clouds and all that it was
mm.
quite pretty. Wasn't quite full, but it's not far from it.
Chris, do you remember the manhole cover story well enough to tell it?
No, um, I don't. But my problem was I was viewing that video that Joe posted with all the velocities of the probe spacecraft and all, and it was hard for me to read it because the
Oh,
print was so small on my phone. Now I'm sure if I'd watched it on a laptop or a computer monitor, it would have been fine. But it was hard to make some of those out.
I'm
well,
just impressed you were brave enough to click on a Joe Dog link.
Well, as long as there's no apparent attempt to be rickrolled, because
that's not any guarantee whatsoever.
oh, I
He
know, and but
he can be subtle when he wants to be.
but that's one that I figured there was little to no chance of there actually being a rickroll in it
He hasn't done that for a while.
because well, number one, he hasn't done it in a while. Number two, he gets serious when he's talking about space stuff.
True.
That's one thing I've learned about Joe is
Yeah.
That's true.
he does love his space stuff.
Well, as best I can go from memory, the manhole cover story begins with an underground atomic bomb test
Mm-hmm.
that they had sealed up with a rather large cast iron manhole cover.
Mm-hmm.
Countdown, they have a high speed camera going, and a very high speed camera at that, trying to
Mm-hmm.
record the after effects of the underground nuclear test.
Mm-hmm.
Cue detonation. Bomb goes off. Camera rolling. Manhole cover shows up ascending in one frame of the high speed camera. Then you get the after effects of a nuclear bomb on the camera.
Mm-hmm. The
And
mushroom cloud.
people did the math based on the camera speed and the one frame and which frame it was that the manhole cover actually appeared in, and pretty much calculated that either it was vaporized or is somewhere exiting the solar system faster than any satellite we have ever launched with all the gravity assists from all the planets in the solar system that we have
Wow.
been able to engineer. This thing is doing an appreciable fraction of sublight speed.
Wow. That's impressive.
It is, and to think that our first contact with aliens probably won't be a Voyager or a Pioneer. It'll be a freaking manhole cover going through their garage. Eh,
All right, what the hell is this?
Where'd this come from?
I hope they got insurance. Um, and
Let's just hope it's not a Bugs Bunny situation. Of course, you realize this means war.
no, it's more of. I wish that had taken a left turn at Albuquerque. Uh,
That's what he
it's
gets for trying to go to Pismo Beach.
headed for Alpha Centauri at a sizable fraction of sublight speeds. Oh, and that sparks off another memory. The original Orion spacecraft. Not the one they're building now, the
Yeah.
one that is supposed to be launched and powered by tossing a nuclear bomb out every few seconds and setting it off for thrust, which works fine once you're out of the atmosphere. It's just launching it into the atmosphere is kind of going to get OSHA and the Environmental Protection Agency to fine you excessively. But in space, works fine. You can get rapidly fast with those. You could,
Yeah.
just from memory, you could get to Alpha Centauri within 3 human lifetimes, maybe. So that's moving quite
Pretty
along
good.
for 3.4 light years. I mean, you're basically making uh, an 80 to 100 year lifetime uh, every year. Um, that's moving. I don't even know how to do the math on that, but that's rapidly fast there.
Yeah.
Considering that if you want to stop, you're going to have to turn over halfway and start slowing down. But hey, so wait, it's the way I drive, and I get 7 years out of a set of brakes. I get halfway where I'm going, I start slowing down. And when I finally get there, I glide to a stop. Um, it does get me some really funny looks on the radar traps as I go by at 700 miles an hour. Um, but I don't drive to Atlanta that often. So, um,
Yeah. Oh well. Um, I guess you heard about Al Pacino expecting a baby with his 29-year-old girlfriend. Al's only 82.
I was gonna say that man's too old for
hey,
me.
Well, De Niro had one at 79, so I guess he's trying to outdo their Bobby.
I'd have to ask to see the DNA on either one of those.
the
Yeah.
plumbing still works. It just erupts a little early. Ah, Lord. Wait a minute now.
I'd still ask for the DNA.
Rod Stewart. Excuse me. Two different people.
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
Rod Stewart was doing an intro to a song, and he was talking about this came out in such and such a year, and I was in my 40s, and my wife was only one, and
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I
mm,
love Rod, I'd still ask for the DNA.
he'd probably gladly give you a sample, hand delivered if necessary.
Yeah, not much
Well,
on
that's one thing.
Rod's, but I'd make an exception for Rod.
Mm,
I can't believe how many people dissed him when he put out his those three albums with the crooner songs on them. Because that man's got the voice for crooning,
well,
as
Yeah.
well as
that's how he got discovered. Actually, he was sitting in a bar, uh, about drunk enough to fall off the bar stool, and he was singing along, crooning along with the jukebox, and there
Mm,
just happened to be an agent there who's going, I believe I could sell this. I believe I could sell this and make a mint. You won't make
yeah.
nothing, but I'll make a mint.
And then
Um,
he turned to rock and roll, and I just remember the furor that he's can't believe he's doing that sort of things like he's a traitor. No, he's got a crooning voice, and these I've got all three albums. They're great.
well, the thing
every,
is, it's
everybody got a
hard.
right to try and make a living.
It's hard for him to hit some of those notes he did when he was doing his rock and roll stuff.
It's true.
He just pitch it a little lower and a
Uh-huh.
little sexier and a little
Yeah,
slower.
but like I said, there's some of those the tone and the pitch of the songs are just they're so long in that tone and pitch. It's harder for him to hit it consistently
hmm
as he's gotten older.
There's
But
a there's an old recording of him and the Faces
Hmm.
with is it Ron Wood from the
Yeah,
Rolling Stones?
yeah.
And it's not anywhere near new. It's classic recording.
Oh, "Stay
And
with Me" is one of my favorites by them.
oh man, they just tore the house down. I swear.
mm,
The last kind of big rocking song that I can remember him doing is off. I think it was When We Were the New Boys album.
Hmm.
There's a song called "Rocks." He belts that one out pretty good.
yeah,
That's one of the last real rockers that he did.
it's true. But my favorite always has been, always will be Maggie May.
Hmm.
But
Actually, that one I never really cared for it.
really,
Yeah.
I
Lindsay's
loved a lot of his other stuff, but
Lindsay's not fond of everything he did, but she does like three or four of his most famous ones.
now I
Uh,
love his ballad "Tonight's the Night."
yeah,
Yeah, of course.
Stay with Me is one of her favorites that he does, and not one of her favorites, but one of her favorites that he does.
Yeah,
Uh, uh, Handbags and Glad Rags, I think, is
That's
another
another
one,
good one.
I love Hot
and
Legs.
Oh yeah.
uh, that one she hates with a white hot passion.
Speaking of Passion, I love Passion by him.
Oh yeah.
Um,
But what got me on the albums was they were totally upset with him, but they never said nothing about the duet he did with Cher or the duet he does with Queen Latifah.
no, no, and they wouldn't because that
Who at the time was
it doesn't
mostly
fit
known
their
for her rap.
stereotype.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and
I love Latifah. She's got such a beautiful voice.
oh yes, indeed, indeed, and always
Well,
has.
speaking of Rod Stewart and doing duets, do you remember his playful version of "Baby It's Cold Outside" with Dolly Parton?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I do. That was
That was
outs
fun.
anything that Dolly does gets an automatic pass from everybody
Everybody.
Yeah,
because you know better to mess with the lady from Sevierville. Um,
Oh, Whitney Houston didn't. And boy,
mm,
did Dolly get on her.
hmm uh,
Dolly wasn't too mad at Whitney though. She made her a small fortune in royalties.
yeah.
That's true,
Well,
but
I get the
Whitney had
feeling that
no business saying that "I Will Always Love You" was her song. That's
no, that was that was Porter Wagner's song.
Yeah,
Thank you,
that was
yeah.
Whitney.
her song for Pearl Wagner.
Yep, and those of us who are of this age know that the Porter Wagner show was where Dolly got her start,
Yeah,
and
Mm-hmm.
Porter Wagner was very instrumental in making sure that Dolly got a fair shake and a fair hearing for anything she wanted to do up until the time he died.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and Dolly also made sure that he was taken care of when he wasn't able to take care
Mm-hmm.
of the financial
Absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely.
obligations. Because
And
she
if I
remembered what he did for her, and she'll never forget him for that.
and I will always love you is exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you
And
for giving me my chance.
yeah,
Thank you for believing in me, and I will always love and respect you for everything you've done.
yeah.
That is exactly what that song originally was, even though a lot of people turned it into a love
Hmm.
song for
Hey,
their
Josh.
significant others. Hello,
Yes,
Josh.
and yes, Porter
Yeah,
did make a lot of people famous.
he did
Well,
indeed.
yep, yep. And of
Without
course, the best
without port,
rendition was on the Best Little Whorehouse of Texas.
Oh yeah,
mhm.
I
that.
love that movie.
Well, without Porter Wagner, there never would have been a hee haw.
And I'll tell you something else. Uh, that meme that I've seen, a picture of Dolly in that scene from Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. What in the hell did Jolene have?
Yeah.
Because that was probably
That is
Dolly
the
at her
infernal
absolute
question.
sexy.
What the hell did Jolene have to compete with that?
Yeah,
Red. She was a redhead.
because
Well,
that was probably Dolly at her
all due
absolute
respect to redheads, but damn.
that was probably Dolly at her absolute sexiest and best looking because she was between when she lost too much weight
Mm.
and she started having too much work done.
I will give you that with the caveat that I've seen Dolly since she was a teenager, and mm, um, excuse me, I'll be in my bunk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Never seen her when she wasn't fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, she's still lovely, but like I said, back then she was perfection.
Never ever ceased to be, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Now,
Um,
now, personality wise, she's only gotten better, and she was awesome to begin with.
yeah.
oh, okay.
She's got
Duet.
a heart bigger than size the state of Texas.
There was one that Dolly did with hang on, it'll take me a minute to dredge his name up out of my memory
Now, it
bank.
was funny when she did Rhinestone with Sylvester Stallone.
This was I Don't Like Spiders and Snakes with Jim
Jim
Stafford.
Stafford.
And she's sitting there with a jumbo sized lollipop
Hmm.
singing along with Jim Stafford. And neither one of them could keep a straight face for 3 seconds.
Of course
And
not.
they're doing their best to get through the song. And I'm just going, this is so suggestive. And they banned George Carlin from the radio for less than this. Okay. Um, Going forward, um, there's so many things. There's so many. Oh. And I'm not even a country music fan. Uh, Lester Flatt, Earl Scruggs, Steve Martin,
Yeah.
Foggy Mountain Breakdown. Oh wait,
Hmm. Steve Martin?
Yeah, he
uh,
plays banjo.
I
yeah.
knew that, but I didn't know he did Foggy Mountain Breakdown.
Oh yes, and actually, uh, Flatt and Scruggs. One of them was already passed away at that time, and I can't. Damn it, my memory is so unreliable. Um, it's not been that long ago. It is on YouTube.
Hmm.
Um, look up Foggy Mountain Breakdown and Steve Martin, and you will probably find the video.
Okay.
And whichever of Lester and Earl is, I do believe it was Earl that was passed, but I'm not sure.
I think first. I
And
think.
it's got that particular recording has a huge number of very memorable country music performers. Oh, okay. So it was Lester and Steve Martin. Earl was
Yeah.
the one who passed away.
Yeah.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you,
Yeah, I
Josh.
was thinking it was Earl Scruggs, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah. Um,
Oh, I loved it every time they came on the Beverly Hillbillies.
oh, yeah. I was just about to say, yeah. Um, they actually did guest several times on there, and um, they were doing one of the themes, either the beginning theme or the end theme, if not both.
Yeah.
The Ballad of Jed Clampett was the
Mm-hmm.
name of it. Um, wouldn't be a bit surprised if didn't have something to do with one of the themes for Petticoat Junction as well. Um,
That makes a lot of sense. The possibility of Green Acres as well.
well, same universe. Green Acres, Petticoat Junction,
Mm-hmm.
Beverly Hillbillies, same universe.
Yeah.
They were interconnected. Um, any place that mentions a town called Bug Tussle, they're all connected.
Of course, one of my favorites was
Yep.
Waylon Jennings with Just the Good Old Boys, the Dukes of Hazzard theme song.
Hmm. Yep. Uh, And oh bugger, there was uh, there was one video of something from that era. I do want to say it was Hank Jr. had some little kid, come on, playing an accordion, and then 20 years later, same kid shows up, a country music rock star, and well deservedly so. But I've got to watch out for them 9-year olds.
Mhm.
Uh, if you're good at your Google foo on YouTube, you can find everything we're talking about and more. Um,
Where is John Scarborough when you need him?
Okay, this says Petticoat Junction theme was sung by Kurt Massey, who co-wrote it with Paul Henning, who Paul Henning was the producer,
okay,
and Linda K. Henning's father, which is why she was only Linda K. In the credits, because he didn't want people thinking he put her in that
in
just
the
because
role,
she's his sister. Yeah, I mean
yeah,
his daughter.
Didn't want to be accused of nepotism.
Yep.
yeah. Well,
Well,
I
you know
can't
what?
I can't think of anybody in any of those roles that weren't excellent for what they were doing. It didn't matter who
True.
they were kin to; they did the role very well.
Well, I think about what Robert
Uh,
Downey Jr. said to his father's told him. He says, "Now that you're 18, let's see if we can't exploit you and make some money in Hollywood." So
Well,
you
we see
know
how that
where.
well,
turned out.
Well, you
plus,
know where Robert Downey Jr. gets a sense of humor from.
mm,
Oh, wasn't me.
Yeah,
plus, if I
that's a
remember
song by
right,
Shaggy, but that's not important right now.
Linda Kay was the only one of the three sisters who played the sister continuously. There were,
The other two did step down and be replaced
Hmm.
I think
partway
Billy
through
Joe
the.
had. I think Billy Joe. There were three different actresses, and I know Bobby Joe
Uh,
were two.
yeah. Okay. Josh has got it. Josh has got it. The song was
Jambalaya,
Jambalaya. It
it's
was
Slim Hayes.
Hunter Hayes, and it was Hank Jr. had him up on stage, I do believe, and many years later, Hunter Hayes is now. Um,
I believe he's a platinum selling country artist.
yes, he is.
Really never heard of him. Sorry.
Oh, look him up. He's cute, or so my wife tells
And
me.
his first big hit was a really good song too. I can't remember it right off my hand, but I remember it was memorable.
Josh, you're too kind.
Um, trying to think of. Well, it wasn't technically bluegrass, but it was a lot of fun. One of my favorite Steve
Ooh,
Martin.
bluegrass. John Hartford.
My one of my favorites was Steve Martin's performance of King Tut.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the original was on Saturday Night Live, I do
Yep.
believe,
Yep.
which is still um
The version
most
you see on
the
YouTube.
most watchable version on YouTube. There may be a later one, but it wasn't anywhere near as ornate, I do believe. And it had several of the musicians from the Blues Brothers movies in the
Well, what
background.
what I would love to see is somebody put that with cutscenes from the King Tut from Batman.
Oh,
From the 1966 Batman
yeah.
Yes,
with Victor Bono as King Tut.
yes. Especially when he's doing his laugh. Oh God, that would be so awesome.
That okay. It's entirely possible, but it's beyond my skill. So, um, people out there with more talent than sense, go for it. It'd be great to see. Um, oh my goodness.
Oh, excuse
Sorry,
me.
Don, I
Bless you. Bless you.
wasn't trying to
Uh,
spread it through the internet.
oh, we all got
No.
a computer virus. Oh no.
Hell,
uh,
it's pollen. I mean,
smoke from
that's all it is pollen.
no
Yeah,
smoke from my cigar went right up my nose.
that stuff gets everywhere.
That's
Sort
Oh
of like
man,
sand, right? Ah,
you could see it dancing around the bookshop
hmm.
there in Peoria, and the young gentleman that we met today was talking, and one of them flew in his mouth.
which is quite different from "May the Bird of Paradise Fly Up Your
Right up your
Nose."
nose.
Yes. Oh
Uh,
Lord, talk about songs I have not heard in ages.
Ages.
Mm,
well, I was listening to or reading an article where they were claiming the worst songs ever, and half the songs I didn't agree with because I actually enjoyed them. I know it's stupid, but I actually love Disco Duck by Rick Dees and his bunch of
Rick
fools.
Dees
It was
did
fun.
an awful lot of parody songs that, well, not parody songs, but comedy songs that were
Hmm.
really, really
Good.
intelligent
Yeah.
in the rhyming that he did to string everything together. Um,
Did you ever hear the one where it's kind of a response song to an ex? One of the lyrics is, "When your memory starts to linger, I give you the finger."
No, I
that one I
haven't
have
heard
not
that one.
heard. No, that one I have not heard. I would be willing to give it a listen just for old time's sake.
I'm pretty sure he's the one that did it.
All
I
right.
didn't get to hear that one too often because obviously radio they
Yeah.
I started to just go to the fridge, but then I realized I have to go a little further down the hall, so I will be right back. Um,
Talking about response songs, do you remember the response song to Billie Jean?
which one
I
are you talking about? I think
only
I know, but I need my memory jogged.
I only heard it once, and I do not know the female singer who sang it, but it got quashed, I guess, because you don't diss Michael Jackson songs. I heard it once all the way through, and then second time the DJ started to play it, and all of a sudden it just went, "Root," and he's like, "I'm sorry, I've been informed I cannot play that song." And I'm like, "Really?" So I would have I would have liked to have known who sang it and the name of it because it was a cute little song, and I would have gotten the 45 of it.
Was it Superstar? The Answer by Lydia Murdoch?
Might have been.
Well, supposedly there's two rebuttals for it, and this one I don't think was a response to it. One of my favorite new waves of the early '80s was Romeo Void, and their biggest song was "Never Say Never," which there's a saxophone in it, and the lyric that everybody catches everybody's ears is "I might like you better if we slept together."
Oh yeah, I
But
kind
they had a sort of more mellow song called "A Girl in Trouble Is a Temporary Thing."
Yeah.
But
I,
I googled it and it said there are two Billie Jean rebuttal songs, and they said "A Girl in Trouble" is a temporary thing, which I don't think, but I could
that doesn't
see.
sound right.
But they've got queued up to the YouTube video for Lydia Murdoch, Superstar, The Answer 1983. It says, "I'm Billie Jean and I'm mad as hell."
That's it. Yeah. Yeah, see, I was trying to go on a remember something that I only heard once
Well, the funny thing is, one of the
3 years
early,
ago.
one of the early rap hip hop songs that I got introduced to as a late adolescent was UTFO's "Roxanne Roxanne." It's basically started out as a song. There was this up and coming artist called Roxanne. She was pretty, and they liked her and thought and they were actually paying her a compliment, but she took it the wrong way and she dissed them, and the song got reworked where it
Uh
had
oh.
their initial thing, her response, and their response to her.
I don't see that ending well for anybody concerned.
Yeah.
Um,
But it was one of the more entertaining hip hop things because it had a story. There were a lot of feuds and jealousy because it was gaining in popularity, but it took a while. So they were trying to make as much money as they could with the limited audience that they had, because
Hmm.
they
mm,
only had a set amount of you know
that
money
sounds
to
like
draw from.
that sounds like
Cutthroat competition.
someone that one of my stepchildren was listening to back in the early 80s, maybe mid 80s,
Hmm.
and I cannot remember the name of the group for Love Nor Money. It was basically famous because it was entirely, uh, well, I would say blue, but not a lot of people would think would understand what I'm talking about. It was
Thank you,
as
Josh. Have a good night.
Night, Josh.
George Carlin would say, suggestive as hell. Um,
Hmm.
well, it went beyond being suggestive. It was fucking filthy, is what it was.
Well, yeah.
Um,
Well, I don't know if you caught the
and
first reference.
the name of the band was a Star Wars reference. So
Oh yeah, Luke Skywalker with
mm,
two U's.
mm,
It
and
eventually
you
became Two Live Crew.
oh, was that what happened?
Yep, they got a copyright thing slapped against them, so they had to change their name to Two Live Crew. But yeah, that's Luther Campbell and company.
Okay. I can't tell you how many times I had to listen to that particular
Yeah,
song.
they had me so horny and a few other.
And that one was not the one that I was thinking of, but um,
Yeah, there's one that we want some. Yeah,
that's the one. That's the
yeah,
one. And
yeah. That's them.
I had to listen to that until the boy got arrested. And I didn't. It wasn't because of the song. It was because of his extracurricular activities. And I was
Yeah.
infernally grateful that he got arrested.
Well, Luther Campbell did a interesting response when he was getting all the flack and had to do the name change. He did a song that was basically bought heavily for Bruce Springsteen. His song was banned in the USA.
Yeah, well, Well, you put that on a orange band around a paperback book, you're going to sell thousands of them.
Yeah.
Um, and we know from experience, don't we, Donna?
hmm
Mm-hmm.
But
Band in what is it? West Peoria, North
mhm,
Peoria, um,
East
East Peoria.
Peoria.
East Peoria. Why'd you
Yeah.
get banned in East Peoria,
Not me, not me.
Michaela?
Yeah.
Michaela, and she was going to be at a farmer's market. And of course, they've got the girls have their plants to sell, and she was going to sell her books. Well, she'd been emailing back and forth with this woman for quite some time. And the day of the flea market, this woman's like, "Your books aren't family friendly.
Oh
You
yeah,
can't
I
have
remember this
them."
story.
Yeah. So Carl printed out
I'll be
on a
back.
bright orange paper banned in East Peoria, and it
Sold
kept
out.
it helped sell books.
Yep. I wonder how much it would cost to get some more of those printed up for my books. And East Peoria's never heard of them anyway, but
Well,
I wouldn't care.
that's when I got the idea after a woman and her daughter stopped and looked at dragons and wizards, and I'm like, "Is this for you or her?" And she says, "Well, you know, this will be for her." I'm like, "I don't think so." I said, "You're not going to want your daughter to read this because that's, how old is she? She's like 14." I'm like, "No, no, no, I'm not,
I wouldn't feel comfortable selling a 14-year-old one of these books.
no." And she's like, "Why?" And I'm like,
Mm,
"Sexual situations." And she's like, "You can't have that book."
I want 2 copies.
So, yeah, I started putting parental advisory on my books. And people go like, "Well, why?" Well, sexual situations, a sexual scene in this one. Oh, come on, this one's named The Seduction of Lily Monroe. That should be
What
pretty
what part of that
self-explanatory.
what part of that title do you not understand? Yeah,
And then I pointed Woodlock Sweatstock Dreams and said a lot of explicit sex. And I usually I'll take that one.
and usually from grandmothers.
Oh, my favorite.
Hey, you do awfully well with the kind of people who would normally have bought the Barbara Cartland and the other bodice ripper types of
Victoria Holt.
the classic, yeah, classic romance.
No, Victoria Holt never had explicit sex. I know I've got her entire collection.
Jacqueline Suzanne
So does
maybe, but
Mom,
Um,
which
yeah,
I inherited.
I've told you the
oh,
story about the little old lady at Euchre when the Seduction of Lily Monroe came out.
I remember you had, please enlighten our audience.
Well, I had taken the Seduction of Lily Monroe was just out, and I had taken a few copies down to Euchre night because I had a couple of friends there who wanted them. And we're sitting there at the table, and I give her sign the book and give it to my friend, and there's this little old lady there, about mid-70s, maybe older, and she says, "Oh, I think I'd like that book." And she starts to get out her first, and I'm like, "It's not that I don't want to sell it to you. It's just I feel you should know that there's very explicit sex in this book." And I mean, talk about the little old lady. She had the little coin purse and everything. She just grins, opens up her coin purse, and slides the money across to me. I'm like, "Okay."
Yes, ma'am. Let the
Yeah.
buyer beware. Um,
Granny got needs.
hey, uh, there is a reason why bodice rippers actually sell.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And it's not the fact that it's the same plot with the names changed and the costumes changed and the historical references changed over and over and over again. It's that there is an audience who wants to read racy romances. And for some of them, the more adult the racy romance, the better.
Yeah.
For others, the more racy the romance, the better. That's the general appeal. Is it's like no, I can't use that example. I'll get banned from the internet entirely. Um, let's just say it had to do with somebody reading the Song of Solomon in the Bible for the first time and realizing that's an erotic poem.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mm. Um,
sorry, Granny. Um,
what are you doing?
who do you think told me? Um,
Well, somebody was trying to explain the difference between Sherilyn Kenyon and Laurel K. Hamilton. And basically, they explained that Sherilyn Kenyon was the more polite, um, PG rated adult scenes, and that Laurel K. Hamilton was the more, what's the word I'm looking for?
actually has a plot. Um,
No, the scenes, the intimate scenes were more explicit.
guess what? Game night's over.
Hmm.
Hey, hey, we're
Yeah.
talking
Hey,
we're
Richard.
talking adult novels now. Um,
I just literally walked in the door, got my computer set up, and immediately came into here.
Um,
yeah, you walked right into this one.
there is this husband author couple, and the female um, one has a alternate um, identity for her spicy novels.
Mhm.
A lot of them do.
Yeah, like Michaela.
Yeah, and
Look,
she
Michaela's not
kind
her
of
real
has a
name.
version of steampunk. She refers to it with booba.
Okay.
I've got a friend, Nobilis. I only know him by Nobilis. Nobilis Reed is his pen name for his erotica and stuff like that. I don't know his real name. I don't need to know his real name. He's a good guy. Um, play Destiny with him.
I
And
actually know a huge number of steampunk writers, and a few of them dribble in a few erotic elements from time to time. But I can't think of anybody that um, majors in that subject. There are quite a few that minor in it, but not major.
Yeah, Nobilis
Uh,
doesn't do steampunk, although he does do some kaiju erotica. Yeah,
I
now see,
am I am not asking questions as to who or how Godzilla does it with.
Now I have.
It's going to take a pretty powerful kaiju to come out Godzilla.
Hey, she's picky.
Hey, yeah, there's Godzilla Jr., there's Gadzuki, so Godzilla gets jiggy with it, even though the Matthew Broderick movie tries to say that it's asexual reproduction.
Yeah, right. She's pissed about something. I'm willing to bet it's child support. Why else would you lay waste to New York City if you weren't getting your child support checks?
Works for me.
Because it's New York City?
Yeah.
Well, okay, you got me on that one. That's a leap of logic. Yeah.
The private chat is where to check names of the innocent and the guilty.
Now, see, I have no problem with anybody finding out that I write sexual sex books. Although I do have one niece who I love her
Is not
to
yet
death.
old enough to read them.
She's only 8 years younger than I am.
Yep, not yet old enough to read them.
No, she's a prude.
Oh, well, definitely never be old enough to read them.
I mean, the woman's had 8 kids. I love her to death. She's had 4 kids, but she's still, yeah.
Some people never get over that hang up.
No, they don't, and that's fine. But
yeah, I mean,
I didn't mind, when she got my other books. But I'm like, are you sure you want these books? Because they are very explicit. And she turned deep dark red, and she said, yes, I want every book that you've written. So I'm like, okay, just letting you know.
Yeah, she has been warned. It's her fault now.
If she reads them. I just have a feeling that they went on her bookshelf without being read, which is fine.
Yeah.
Hey. Still. Okay, Chris ducked out. He went to order your books, is what it is. I know Chris.
You doesn't have to order them. I'll have them in the van when we come down to Hallowcon.
Well, yeah, I've got paper copies. I still need to get the ebooks so that I can actually have a chance to read them, because I only get to read at work on my Kindle.
That's okay, because Carl's been promising me. There's a couple of them that are available on ebook, but he hasn't done the rest of them. And I'm like, I want them all available on ebook.
Tell him Dan wants ebooks.
And I wasn't putting you on the spot as much as I was putting Carl on the spot for not doing that. You helped me convince him that he needs to get his act together and get those books converted into ebooks.
I don't have time to read paper books anymore. I'm sorry.
I'm not blaming you. I'm blaming Carl.
No, I'm apologizing to the world. Because
I do most of my reading either here or my tablet.
People still send me paperbacks and hardbacks to review when I don't do reviews anymore. And I'm going, I don't have time to read unless I'm at work. And then I only have time to read stuff on my Kindle. I've got like an hour a day that I can read at work. I don't have any time I can read anything that's not a submission to Aphelion at home.
Mm-hmm.
I can't read for pleasure anymore because I am the de facto short story editor for Aphelion until somebody else steps up and goes, hey, I'd like to work myself to death reading 50 stories a week and deciding which ones are ready for prime time. And I'm going, that's my job.
Donna, What
Yes.
is your author name? Because I looked up Donna Carlene and it didn't give
Donna
me.
Carlene on Lulu. Or go to the Independent
Independent
Creative
Creator
Directory.
Directory.
That lists everything there with links
Are
to.
you available on Amazon?
Rarely.
Yeah.
Most everything is available as an ebook is on Lulu, right?
Yeah.
And all the print stuff is available on Lulu.
Yeah. We started doing Amazon and Barnes and Noble.
Mm-hmm.
They don't pay me enough. They take a bigger chunk
Yeah,
out of it than Lulu does. And the ironic thing is, even if you go to Amazon, it's going to come from Lulu.
yeah. So Lulu takes their cut, then Amazon takes their cut, and
Hmm.
Donna gets what little is left over.
So, Lulu, is that available on the Play Store?
I have no idea.
Lulu is a
Lulu.com is.
it's a self-publishing company
I didn't know
for
if they had an app for readers or what. So.
don't
I
think so.
doubt. Yeah, I
I
doubt
think it
it.
is a marketplace more than anything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think they have the standard formats for ebooks.
Well, it depends on what the creator decides to put out. If the creator decides they want an ebook, Lulu will do the ebook.
Ebook,
If they
yes.
decide they want print only, then Lulu will
We'll
do
do
print
that.
only, and they will
Right,
do
but
a very, very good job. They're a very good binding company for paperbacks and hardbacks and whatnot. They do high quality work. I do have my
Yeah, I
first
mean,
ever.
for the paperback, I
the
think you have to have a
Woodstock
minimum of
Dreams
24
is
pages,
beautiful.
maximum of 800 or something.
I don't know. I leave that for the editor.
Really,
But
that's not a statistic I've ever had to look up. So
yeah,
Well, I was looking it up for things that go bump in the light.
yeah.
I wanted to make sure that, okay, do I need to pad this thing so that I could actually use Lulu, or because I'm still trying to figure out whether I want to use Lulu, drafts to digital, or go KDP. The stuff I'm reading for KDP, I'm thinking the ship has probably sailed.
I think that ship has hit the fan.
Yeah, especially with their prices increasing here soon.
Hmm.
Um,
Now, for the writers that got in on it early, they should be, depending on what version of e-reader that folks have and whether or not it does the animation of a page flip or just goes to the next page. If it does the animation of a page flip, the writers get paid for every page turned. Otherwise, they don't get an awful lot.
really?
And I don't have anything from KDP on my Kindle. Otherwise, I would have changed the page flip animation already. But that does take extra ounce or two of battery life out of the thing every day, considering how many page flips that I'm able to do in the 90 minutes a day that I'm allowed to read. Um, I, I finished.
Yeah, most people think it's like any place you buy the ebook and that's it. But and
Now, okay,
there's only like 2 of my books that's available right now in as ebooks. Chris,
Mm-hmm.
Bug Carl. I've been bugging him for quite a while that the rest of them need to be ebooks too.
It's those of us with fairly extensive libraries. At some point, unless you get rid of some things, and most of us with libraries are reluctant to do so because we treasure those books, and some of them aren't available with that particular print edition anymore with that artwork.
Have you
Or being
seen a
signed.
picture of my library?
No, but I can imagine it's extensive. I know Dan's got an extensive library.
We turned the fancy dining room, the formal dining room, into a library. There are 7 bookshelves, 10 foot high because they go almost to the ceiling,
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you a
all
picture of my
filled.
library. Wait, this is my library.
Donna and
So ebooks
Carl.
make a lot of sense for us with fairly extensive collections.
Well, I've got a few hundred books in actual bound versions as well.
Is that all?
Donna and Carl are 2 of the very, very few people I know of to actually have more physical books than I do.
I think we've probably hit over 6,000 now.
Oh, okay. I've got twice as many. I've got twice as many physical books as they do.
I don't
Last
have
time,
the space to have
I
as many books
counted.
as I want.
Last time I counted, it was somewhere around 14,000 paper and hardback books.
You know, I thought I was doing relatively good with the box.
I have
Well,
been.
you get
With
2
about
writers.
400.
I have been collecting books since I was 3,
Now,
and I'm 65. Imagine, and I used to go out and spend $100 a week on books, and not
that
new
is,
ones, used paperbacks for 50 cents each.
well,
Mm-hmm.
now my collection alone isn't, but when you add my mom's 500 to 700 to it, it starts getting respectable. And I'm
Uh,
probably pushing close to 1,000 on my Kindle now.
I don't even want to talk about the comic books I fucking lost in the movie.
oh God,
Mm.
don't even get me started. I had to sell a bunch of my comic books after my first wife stole about 2/3, no, 3/4 of my collection and sold it for a dime a copy. And we're talking stuff that was worth, some of them, $25 to $30 per issue
Yeah.
for a dime.
Misty thought
I
my
let her live.
comics
I don't know why.
were in the bedroom closet. At some point in time, they got moved out to the shed.
Mm.
Yee.
Mm,
Mice had eaten them. Mice and raccoons had pissed and shit all over them. I cried when we found them. I cried. Although I do have a few that were sealed in some plastic boxes and stuff like that. So I do have some of them that survived. Unfortunately, they're like The Simpsons, Beavis and Butthead. You know, they're not my Death and Rebirth of Superman. They're not my Marvel 2099 collection and stuff like that. I spent about 15 grand on the comics, buying them as they were issued. First run, first volume, holographic foil covers, embossed covers, and to see them just nod, pissed and shat on, I cried. I bawled like a little baby. Although the thing that really pissed me off, and the thing that really hurt, is I had a Winnie the Pooh doll, stuffed animal, That was my second Winnie the Pooh I ever got, because the first one I played with and my mom washed it so much it literally disintegrated. So I was crying so much they got me another one for Christmas. And then that went with me on every major trip that I went on. You know, in 8th grade, going to Washington D.C., I had my Winnie the Pooh doll. Fun fact: nobody gave me shit about bringing my Winnie the Pooh to DC as a 12-year-old man.
Yeah,
Where
12-year-old man that's 7 feet tall.
I wasn't 7 feet tall. I was maybe just shy of 6 at that point. Um, but still, nobody gave me any shit about that. They teased me about being fat. They teased me about being awkward. They teased me about, setting the bell curves and screwing them out of good grades. But they didn't give me any shit about my Pooh Bear. When I went to Gen Con for the first time, he went with me. Every time I went to Gen Con, he went with me. And I was wondering what happened to him. And one day we're out in the shed trying to clear out the shed and get the shed under control and stuff like that. And I find him in the shed, unprotected. So he wasn't in a bag or anything like that. Now, he had a hole in his neck and stuff like that because, again, he had been drug around for 30 years. More than 30 years, because by the time he ended up out in the shed, I probably had him about 34, and then, it was probably somewhere in my early to mid 40s that we found his corpse again. But, looking inside of him, there is so much mouse feces and stuff like that, and his stuffing is not even funny. So I don't know if we still have his skin around here somewhere to try to repair him and put him back into fighting shape and stuff like that, because Misty ended up taking everything out of him, turning him inside out, putting him through the washing machine a few times to try to get all the mouse urine and feces and all that off and stuff like that. But I was more pissed about that than I am losing my thousands of dollars worth of comic books.
Yeah, because Pooh meant more to you.
Oh, yeah.
Got you through some tough times.
Oh, yeah. And in fact, so Misty loves tigers, so Misty's a Tigger girl.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm always teasing her about, Tigger being a rapist because he, without consent, non-consensually, bounces upon other men. She gets pissed at me when I do that.
I imagine
Of
so,
course.
yes. Okay, true confessions. Lindsay has an original Edwardian era teddy bear. We're talking pre-Teddy Roosevelt teddy bear. And as rambunctious as our German Shepherd is, she knows better than to go near that dog. Because I'd probably have a new insulated set of coveralls for wintertime if that happened.
Hey, why are these coveralls, the color of Kimber, and where is Kimber?
And why does it look like a tuxedo down the front? Yes. Exactly. We've never had a pet that dared to go within 6 feet of that teddy bear, because Mount Vesuvius does not erupt with that much violence as Lindsay when that teddy bear gets endangered in any way, shape, or form, because her father gave it to her.
Yep.
And the sentimental meaning is worth more than the historical meaning.
Yep.
And I could not agree more. Never got to meet her dad in person. I got to talk to him on the phone a lot, but I
Yeah.
never got to meet him in person. Amazing man, absolutely amazing man. Uh, uh, Survived the D-Day invasion, having been parachute dropped inside a British tank behind enemy lines in France. Had 2 tanks blown out from under him. Had to have plastic surgery one time for burns. And as soon as he was released, he signed back up to go back to the front because the war was still on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you did if you were that era of British soldier. Okay,
Yep.
I'm alive. I'm going back in.
Because duty meant something.
Yeah, really. And
I have
make
never had any problem with cats getting on the tables, on the cabinets, up where they're not supposed to be, and
un,
then
until recently. mm,
and Charco just looks at him like, "You're not supposed to be up there, brother." Or maybe it's more like he's gonna get in trouble again.
mm,
He has figured out how to open my cabinet and get in and play with the little knickknacks. And there's no key to the cabinet. I ended up taping it shut.
Yeah, for 50 years, nobody ever needed a key. Then you got a cat.
Then I got this cat.
Okay.
And then he looks at you with these big eyes and innocent face, and you're like, oh, damn it.
I got a fly swatter. Quit smiling at me.
He gets the pool noodle.
Bonk,
And
bonk,
Daddy
bonk.
pool noodled him the other day, and he's like, "Wait a minute, Mom's the one that's supposed to use that on me."
Hey, Mom ain't here. I am.
We have very different ideas on disciplining. I blame it on Carl's being a psychologist. Psychology doesn't work with animals. Sometimes you gotta smack their little rears. Wait a minute, come to think of it, same way with two footed toddlers.
I think Kimber has finally learned, and this may be famous last words. I think Kimber has finally learned that the stuffed animals on top of the headboard or of the bed are don't ever touch that. Cause
You better be a good cat.
those are not pet toys. Those are mine. And I do believe that Lindsay has driven that point home a couple of times so that the lesson had been learned. And Kimber knows which toys are hers. We put
Yeah.
her toys in her toy basket. She can get them out, and she actually will put them back and clean up after herself, which is better than 9/10 of the teenagers I've raised. Sorry, girls, it's true. But
Yeah.
you know, she climbed up and got one or two of the stuffed animals up there a couple of times, and she was extraordinarily gentle. Just to go, hey, you ignored me, so I'm going to show out. Here's this. I could tear it up, but I'm not going to because I want to live. And
They give me attention.
uh-huh, exactly.
Yeah. Calvin knows which toys are his too. All of them.
Mm. Well, I'm just grateful that the dog has learned which toys are mine. Um, Not that I ever play with them, but seriously, they're snuggleable.
And what gets me is we have a window seat on the north side of the living room. On the south side is a low radiator that just comes up to the windowsill. And since the boiler died and we couldn't afford to put in a new one, I just covered it with a pretty little cloth and put pillows on it. So it'd be a nice little window seat on the south side. You'd think these cats would like to lay on these nice, soft little pillows because they're just perfectly made to be sat on. Nope, they all get knocked onto the floor and they lay on the hard little cover that's over the radiator. Really? And in the winter, I'm pretty sure that's kind of cold too.
Hmm.
Aminals are fun.
Yes, they are. Um,
They are fun, but they are also at times trying little shits.
yes, they are.
For sure.
Mm. Now,
Yeah.
in my defense, I don't know how many other 65-year-old men have a stuffed koala with a baby in its arms on the headboard of their bed. I do. Make fun of me at your own risk. Um, when I was younger, I bought cute stuffed animals to put on the headboard of the bed, and one of them is a baby seal. I thought it was cute. It's still there. It's still in one piece. There's a battery operated cat that meows, but I took the batteries out because I couldn't stand that thing anymore. Had a motion detector. You walk in the room, the damn thing starts meowing. I go, I got real cats for that. Your batteries are extinct. Um,
Don't need that from you.
oh, really? Somebody once got us a parrot that would imitate whatever was said in its vicinity. A stuffed parrot. Um,
Oh boy.
I'm not sure whether that wound up on a bonfire or in a yard sale. I'm not. I really don't know what happened to that. I bless whoever it was that gave it to us, but
Oh yeah, I almost forgot the
don't do it again. Ah,
41 yard sale was this weekend.
oh, okay. I bet there was some astounding stuff.
Yeah, if you have the patience and the time to look through it all.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, something that large, yeah, because that covers quite a number of square miles, didn't it?
Yeah, U.S. Highway 41 through several states. I think it runs all the way up through. I want to say from Kentucky to Florida,
Yeah,
and that,
that's
Forty
that's
forty
just the
one.
part.
that's
Forty
more
That's
one.
than a
Where?
couple.
Yeah.
That's more than a couple of square miles right there. Yeah. Um, if you got time enough to go through all of that in one day, You got a DeLorean with a Mr. Fusion on
Well,
back.
I think they do the yeah, I think they do both days. I think they do Saturday and I think some of them set up actually on Friday. So
Oh, come on. If I was driving straight, I couldn't do that distance in 2 days. I'd have to sleep sometime.
yeah, exactly. So you have to know what you're looking for and where to look for it.
Evidently, Google is your friend. Uh,
Evidently, knowing the people selling is your friend.
um, no, given the fact that I want to have a life, I will restrict my special shopping to conventions. At least that way I know when I buy something, it's from somebody that I know
The,
really deserves my money.
yeah. Well, the easiest thing to do is concentrate on a stretch you're familiar with. Like for me, it would be running from um, the Tennessee Georgia state line to down through Bartow County, that area. That's doable in a day.
Not like Chattanooga to Macon. Um,
Yeah,
that that would be a little bit more than 1 day's worth.
yeah, exactly. But you could do the stretch that I'm talking about within a day. And obviously, there's going to be areas you're going to focus on more than others because you're
Yeah,
going to see stuff that, oh yeah, this is stuff that I like.
yeah.
Mm,
Okay, and now here's the point where I've got to say that occasionally there are things you want to recover from your childhood that somehow or another got displaced without your consent,
mm-hmm.
and most of the time you can only find those on an eBay auction, which is why I now have a complete set of Tom Swift Jr. hardbacks in the yellow covers with the pictures and everything. And number 33 cost me more than all the rest of them put together because that is the one that got the least distribution because it was the worst written book in the existence of humanity. Let's face it, the Book of Mormon makes a hell of a lot more sense than episode 33 of Tom Swift Jr. Um, and is more believable. And that has no negative impact on any Mormons that I happen to know or do not know and happen to know me or do not happen to know me but may watch this program in any point in the future. But believe me, number 33, Tom Swift Jr., is the most badly written fiction I have ever paid money to own. And
Well,
I,
I
I, I have several thousand other books as a testimony to this. Um, Now, believe me, I spent my childhood reading and rereading and rereading everything else in this series and had never seen number 33. And I had to replace what was stolen from me by my first ex wife after we'd gotten divorced. And eBay gave me the chance to do so. Some of them were really, really affordable. Some of them were a little bit more expensive, but still affordable. And then this one.
well, I didn't buy it, but I tried reading a copy of the Gods of Tarot series, and I just could not get into it whatsoever.
Mm, There are a lot of things like that. There are things that I have read a couple of just because they were in the library, and I'm going, you actually paid money for this? No, I'm not going to check it out a second time. Just
Well, I,
once was enough. I know this exists, so um,
obviously the cover would have drawn you in, Dan, because it's this very well put together female with red hair standing straight up, looking backward. You know, and you're looking at her rear end, and you can see a profile of her figure as she's
um,
twisted and all.
there are so many. There are only so many books that Frank Frazetta's artwork can sell.
I don't know that it was his artwork, but it would not surprise me. But
Um, there are several other people that can do that, not exact style, but that spirit of a book cover that makes you go, I really hope this has something to do with the actual story in the book. 99% of the time, unless it was Conan. No, it didn't. But
well, it wasn't just the female on the front cover. There was a background which had a fairly lush looking landscape. So it, you know, it
uh,
was
I'm betting it was the fairly lush looking female in the foreground that got your interest. I'm sorry,
no,
Chris.
actually, you know, I am discerning enough to appreciate both. Believe it
Okay,
or not.
I will accept that. Other people may not be so gullible. Hey, folks, we've already
Believe
run
me,
over the 2 hour mark, so let's 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 wrap this up here. Chris is digging a hole and he's at the bottom, so
actually, I have better looking covers with more appealing female forms on the within the framework, shall we say?
We'll let you say that.
I
not
did.
going to say not going to say anything about the Betty Page Playboys. No. Um,
I'm not talking about that.
hey,
There's other artwork.
I have absolutely no shame. If you put Betty Page on the cover of something, I'm going to buy it, or
Yeah.
at least download it illegally. Um, I have no shame. Betty Page, I want it. Uh,
Yeah, but there are various artworks on novels and uh, shorter works that are visually appealing.
Oh, there you are.
oh,
Oh,
hello, kitty.
Hey, Callie.
yeah, that's Kelly.
Yeah. Everybody sees you and says hi.
That's a good-looking kitty cat.
That's an ornery little shit.
Well, yeah, they're all aggravating, annoying little shits, but they're lovable too. The lovable
I
part
have
makes you.
never had a cat that was as big as trouble as this one.
Yeah, well,
Mm.
Hopefully, I mean, he's a year old now. Hopefully, in the next year, he'll grow out of it and be calm like his sister.
yeah, you can hope.
I'm not
There's
taking
always
any
hope.
bets. I'm not taking any bets whatsoever.
Oh, I'm not holding my breath. I'm not that damn dumb or foolish.
Uh,
Hi. Yeah.
well, thank you all for being here tonight. Thank
Yeah.
everybody that was watching live. Thank everybody that will be watching in the future. Uh, yes, we are this silly in real life. And yes, we are even more entertaining than you have seen tonight in our real life. Usually because you're sitting with us and not only responding to the jokes, but telling your own and becoming part of the group. This is some of the best fun that we're able to have outside of actually being together in the same room. And Rich, you've not been together with us in the same room yet, but
Someday.
we are looking forward to that day's actual occurrence with bated breath.
So I will learn a speaker eventually. It's not like I do it for a living. So am I. I can't wait to be in the room with the whole gang. I've been able to enjoy space with Donna and Carl. Um, Definitely have had plenty of chances and experiences sharing the same space with Nick and Joe Bachman. Um, but um, it's a great family to be part of, and I can't wait to shake your hand and give you a big old bear hug, brother.
Oh Lord, yeah. And
Looking
the
forward to
occasion,
it.
the occasional bended elbow would not be a lick amiss.
Yeah.
But on that note, we have gone over 2 hours and do have to get up in the morning to help Lindsay get the pets fed before she goes off to church.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad you got to see the comment, Donna. I saw you chuckling. I couldn't resist.
Not saying a word.
Chris,
I told you I was a mischievous little shit.
one day I'm going to have a long talk with that boy.
You leave that boy alone.
You might want to be in on the talk. Well,
That's not a toy. Leave it alone.
I can see if I can find Barry, and then we'll have two people stroking theirs.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, Donna, that was about what I was going to say about Chris. That's not a toy. You quit stroking. You quit leave the other boy alone.
That's not a toy. You'll go blind.
Oh, she'll stop when she needs glasses.
You should try out.
Oh, man. It's been fun.
Before we get ourselves banned from the entire internet.
Not just.
Transmission overload. System will shut down. 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 System will shut down.